You can actually sit back a little bit, Carl, Alex, because it's pretty loud. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Welcome to. Whoop, I got the wrong music on. We'll try that one again. Let's start with the closing tune instead of the opening tune. All right, here we go. Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen, Carlos Balasquide, and Alex King here on this Tuesday, December the 4th, 2018. It's 4 p.m. New York time, 1 p.m. Los Angeles time, 9 p.m. London time, and in Sydney, Australia, good morning. It's 8 a.m. And this is your second daily dose of happy for the day, and we're doing another Q&A session today. We are inviting people who are members of the Law of Attraction Changed My Life group, who might be listening to the live stream, to share your concerns, your questions, your points of interest, everything that you're thinking about and wondering about where the law of attraction is concerned. And we may even share some of our own questions too as we go along. But first things first, gotta start with a hello. So Alex, how you doing? How's it been going?
I'm good. I'm doing a lot better. Had a busy week, so finished my Christmas shopping, and
Ooh,
now I'm relaxed.
good for you. Finished? I haven't even started my Christmas shopping. You got yours finished?
Wow.
I did everything online, so it's so much easier.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that is the nice part. But oh my God, I'm feeling guilty now.
Yeah, and you should get everything. You should get everything soon enough so that you gotta make some tweaks. You can do that right before Christmas, just in case.
I don't feel like I need to make any tweaks. My
No?
presents are perfect.
I love it. Confidence on top of everything else. Well, I don't know if you can
Yeah,
top that, Carlos, but how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful actually. I been going towards a good headspace. So I think like the last month or so has been tough with work and aligning. When you have a kind of an unlimited um, field of view on like what you can do, and sometimes it's a
Mm,
little bit too much. It's like going to the Cheesecake
Hmm.
Factory. You don't know what you want to eat because they have
Right.
40 pages, right? So
right.
no, I gotten a lot more clear, with the path that I want to take, goals that I want to set for this next year, and I'm seeing them, as a reality now, kind of in my purview. So that's definitely a step in the right direction. Um, you know, so yeah, doing good.
All right. Yeah, nice
How
to.
about you, Walt?
That's good.
How's everything over in
It's been
the
an
East
interesting.
Coast?
The last week was one of the most challenging of my life, to be perfectly honest. As many of the listeners know, it regards an issue that I have not named, a medical issue that my wife's been dealing with, that I've been dealing with as well as a result, because it's impacted us for
Right.
like the last couple months, and it reached a head last week in a way that just terrified us. I can't give you the details again, so I'm kind of like, oh, well, what do I say? But bottom line is, we got really good news a few days later, and that good news alleviated a whole lot of fears and basically
Yeah.
it took a situation that looked like it could spiral practically out of control and turn it into something very controllable. And
Good.
that was just a good thing.
Hmm.
So we're I mean, she's starting to get her energy back. We're smiling like, oh
Yeah.
wow, we're coming out. The sun is coming out.
Right. No, I'm glad to hear that. It's tough too sometimes when you're in it. You know what I mean? Like in
Oh,
that week or in the middle of it, to see that light. It's just like it can be
absolutely.
daunting sometimes. So just glad that you were able to just really be strong there for you and your wife. And really kind of power you guys through that time. So
Well, thank you.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I mean, and it's also it's like any other kind of contrast that we run into. Any kind of we're faced with a negative situation we didn't expect. We felt like we didn't really ask for it, but there it is. It's yet another opportunity to practice getting to the next level. Pushing myself
Hmm.
to And I didn't have to push real hard because it's my wife. I love my wife. I
Right.
want to help her. I
Right.
want to look out for her. And with the first diagnosis we got, which was turned out fortunately to be an incorrect diagnosis. I mean, I was just in instant survival mode. I was just going to do everything possible to help my wife to come out of this with flying colors against all the odds. And the odds were definitely going
Yeah.
to be against us if that was correct. And it gives you, the thing I've been noticing is it really gives you a huge burst of passion. I mean,
Right.
there have been things I've been trying to attract in my life, and I've actually been going for the passion, trying to, build up the feeling and so forth. Didn't have to build this one up at all. This was like, boom, in
Right.
my face. I'm ready to go. I am determined. And it was like, if the passion started here, it was up here, on a scale of 1 to
Right.
10, it reached 25. That's how big it
Yeah.
got. And there were some incredible LOA stories that came along with it, manifestation stories that came out of it, including the semi-obvious one that we had a great result. Um, there was also the fact that it happened quickly. I mean,
Mm.
once I
Hmm.
got into that passionate mode, and my wife had gotten to that same mode to the degree that she could, um, stuff happened fast. It really happened fast, and it reinforces what Abraham Hicks has talked about, which is that passion trumps resistance. So you know how it is. You're trying to attract
Mm.
something into your life, and you have some sort of resistance, either known to you or unknown to you, and it gets in the way, and so stuff doesn't show up. Well, when your passion is high, it's like a plow that just pushes all the resistance out of the way, and that's what we were
Right.
experiencing. So, as difficult and as negative as the experience was, it was also really positive because I got to experience in a conscious way just how powerful passion really is. It was really quite
Hmm.
remarkable from that perspective. So, yeah,
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I talk about Tony Robbins every once in a while. My dad, I said, told you, gave me kind of his some tapes of his
right,
when I had like 12 years old, right?
yeah,
Um, but among other things he talks about, something that I always loved that he always signed off with, or he always left with, was live with passion,
mm,
and that would be his. And it kind of, just those little words, resonate so well because you're right. It's sometimes it's even better to start with the passion,
yes,
and
yes,
then manifest from there.
yeah.
But no, that's great.
I
That's
mean,
great.
actually, my next personal growth goal is to figure out how to get that to that level of passion without putting myself into a massive crisis. Because the passion level
Right.
is great. I just would rather do without the massive crisis. I mean, a small crisis, I can handle that. Massive crisis, no, thank you. I really don't want that anymore. I'm not interested in that
Right.
big roller coaster ride. I like, a smaller coaster.
I've heard that though. It's funny you say that the huge crisis, and then you're like, yeah, you can take the small ones. Well, I have buddies of mine who have that's how they have kind of created their sense of urgency in their work.
Oh, sure.
Uh, is through creating these little crises, which again, so when they tell other people, it's not, but they create them in their mind, right? And on purpose, they're like, oh man, I have to do, get this by whatever.
Hmm.
And then it's almost like this, um,
Yep.
not false, but it's kind of they generate it in
Yeah.
that way. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, you're right. It's better to have control of that than for it to just show up.
Yeah, you really don't want to be trying to swim out of the deep end from 40 feet down every time. It's just not all that fun.
Yeah, no, I get you. I definitely understand. Yeah.
But all's well that ends well. That's really what it all comes down to. Is coming out very nicely, and I mean, she's not done with her recovery. It's going to take a little while, but it's all
Right.
looking really, really good now. So we're much more optimistic and feeling good, and coming out of it stronger, as usually happens whenever there's a crisis. We're
Yeah.
we're feeling stronger, and we're seeing some
Good.
we're seeing some comments and stuff coming through. Do we have any questions here? Well, yeah, we have one question. Nasha wants to know: do we have Carlos again?
We do. Sam, sorry, I'm in and out sometimes, but I love being here when I am here. So yeah, just if I'm not here, guys, it's the nature of my work. Sometimes I get auditions, or there's certain things that I have to kind of say yes to, and they happen to fall during the time. But I'd much rather be here with you guys. But yeah, sometimes that's the nature of the beast.
That's the way it works sometimes. But we know that you're going off to do good things, and that's really the important thing. So even though
Right.
you're not here sometimes, we know
Exactly.
you're doing good things. And that's great. And
We
she also
totally understand.
absolutely, absolutely. And Nasha says she actually has some questions. So Nasha, why don't you go ahead and type up some questions? We'll be glad to address them. We've also got hellos from Jeffrey and Bronwyn, and Tahir is waving hello. Hello, Tahir. And I think I saw another name here, but I don't remember who I saw. Well, of course, I'm not seeing all the comments now. I haven't figured out how to make the comments always show up, but that's all right. So, well, Nasha's starting to put her stuff together. So while she's doing that, I'm going to pose a hypothetical to you guys. Okay?
Okay.
Because, like I said, I've been trying to figure out how to get passion, get to the high levels of passion quickly. So, well, I'll just start with a basic. Like, if you were talking about your buddies who kind of build themselves up. I mean, do you have a method that you use to get yourself into a more passionate place? Because you obviously appreciate how important the passion is.
Yeah. It's kind of yeah. It's hard to think about right now a little bit, just because I'm still, I'm almost not in the same boat as you as far as situation, but like
Mm.
in that feeling where
Well,
you're
yeah.
like, man, there's no light, and then finally kind of climbing out of it, and now seeing what the future can be. I'm in this very similar thing, and so
Well, passion is,
um,
it doesn't even,
that's
you don't even have to have a crisis in order to feel passion. I mean, lovers
right.
feel passion. There's not a crisis going on there. They're just falling in love. That's not a crisis. That's like a
Right.
good thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Let me
Okay, we'll let
let
you
me kind of
marinate on that one.
marinate on it for a second, and
Okay.
'cause I don't want to just answer to answer. Let me think about
Whenever I
it.
see Alex just kind of sitting there, it usually means she's got an answer. So I'll go to her. Do you have an answer on that one?
I like to picture myself in the situation, already, and that's when I get excited about it. So that's where my passion comes from.
Just from picturing it, just from imaging it in your
Yeah,
mind. Did you turn it into a
and
video
then
or is it a
I'll
still
say it out
picture?
loud. Like I'll say it out loud. I'm like, oh, okay, so for instance, okay, this weekend I'm taking my pets to go to see Santa. So I'm like,
Ah.
okay, I gotta get their outfits ready. Okay, do I want to? Who's gonna be reindeer? Who's gonna be Mrs. Claus? Okay, so I gotta prep myself to get ready for the situation. So pumping myself up and getting passionate about the situation.
Now, my wife would want me to ask you, are you going to name one of the reindeer Olive? Because it's
All
part
of
of
the other
all of
reindeer.
the other reindeer. Yeah.
It's funny how that joke went right over my head. That's a weird name.
It is a weird name. It's a weird joke.
Uh,
It's a joke that my wife likes stupid jokes. She does. It's just that's part of her charm.
It's a dad joke from like back in
Yeah,
the
right.
day.
It's a
yeah.
dad joke. Exactly. So
Oh
I guess we
gosh.
could rule out Olive as being one of the names of the reindeer. Okay, well we figured that one out. That's
No,
good.
it's Rocky and Chloe.
Oh, okay. They don't even get reindeer names. They should be like Blitzen, you know?
No, they get their own names. The
Oh, okay.
costume is enough.
Oh, okay. But it'd be great. You could take them up to the Santa chair and say, "On Don" or "On Blitzen."
But then you don't want to get them confused when you actually try to take
Yeah,
the
that's
picture
true.
because my dog actually smiles on command.
Does he really?
So I'm not going to be like, hey, yes, he smiles on command. So I have
Wow.
to be like, Risty, pose, and then he'll smile.
Oh my God,
That's
that's pretty
awesome.
cool. All right.
Yeah,
I've heard of
like
training
that.
dogs to do a lot of things. I hadn't heard that one before. That's different.
I didn't train him. He
He just does
he's an
it.
Instagram person. Yeah, he does it for the gram.
He's a ham.
Yeah, he is. He's such a ham.
He's
Oh
a
my
ham.
god.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, we like that. I think Nasha has posted her question. Let me see what she said. Well, I'm not sure if she's asking a question or not. Yeah. As far as I have dived deep for the past 11 to 12 years, I have come a long way. Good for you. But what I wanted to know is that some people who teach about Neville Goddard, they give the example of how he attracted his second wife. If you guys remember, John Asheroff, right, also manifested a house. Not something like it, but the same house. Yeah, that's right. I remember that from The Secret. The exact house he put onto his vision board is the one that he was living in. So what's the question, Nasha? I mean, you framed that, but what exactly is the question? Is it you want to know is that some people who teach about Neville, but what is it that you want to know about that? So you got to give some more details. Otherwise, I don't have a question yet.
Yeah. So I can answer your original question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's hear what you have to say. Okay.
Yeah, I thought about it, and I think I talked about this maybe on Friday. I get confused. They all kind of seem to match together, but
try doing 11 a week. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but music is huge. Music is a big part of my life. Again, like my moods will have different kinds of music that I like, and when I want to get into those moods, I just do the reverse, right? There's certain songs that I play right before an audition or an interview that just really, and this is without me even trying, they make me smile and make my body want to move.
Oh yeah,
those kind of things bring you into that really high vibration, high passion. But yeah, it could be anything. When you're talking about love and affection and significant others, R&B works great. They say everything that you want to say and more, and you kind of you can really if you sit and really sit and listen to the music. I think that's another thing. A lot of people do things with music in the background, but instead of people sit on their couch and watch TV, but a lot of people don't just sit and listen to music, and I think that. Kind of really getting into the words and lyrics and then kind of projecting that, like you're thinking about your own thoughts and whatever it is that kind of speaking to you from that music and from those lyrics or what have you. That for me is a big way to kind of get into really passionate kind of
frame of mind,
being. Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
I agree.
You agree with that too? You do the same thing?
Yeah, when I have to go somewhere and I want to set the mood depending on where I'm going, I have certain playlists for certain moods. So
right.
I have if I'm in a bad mood, I have my crying in the shower mood playlist. I have my Santa's Little Helper list. For Christmas, I have it. I do it all, but yeah, mostly when I'm in the shower is when I'm playing music. So that gets me hyped for the rest of the day.
Wow. Okay. I hadn't tried that. I mean, I like to play music when I'm out and about or even like Carla said, sometimes just sitting quietly to listen to music because you can kind of get into it that way. I've never done it in the shower. I've never listened to music in the shower. Gotta try that sometime.
Oh yeah. Get yourself a Bluetooth speaker. It makes all the difference.
Okay. All right.
A little Alexa dot. And you can yell at it when you want to change it. That's the major key there, and that's not an Amazon plug or anything like that, but just voice activated. It's like $30, so it's really everything you need.
Good investment.
For your shower music needs. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we have the shower music experts here, so I'm glad that we had you here to enlighten us about this. This is good stuff. So let's see. Nasha says, so my question is, how can we track specific people in our life and specific things? My question is this possible, and why do we have a debate here? Neville says, want, and just, let's see, what's it? And just, do I take a no for it? I'm not sure what you're saying there. Neville says, want, and just, do I take a no for it? That's also from one of his lectures. I don't quite follow that part. But it sounds like what you're saying is Neville's take on how to attract it is a little different from, say, what Abraham teaches or what other LOA teachers teach. Is that what you're driving at? Does that sound right to you guys? Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, I think what I got from the gist of it is like she asked about a relationship and then she asked about a house or something, and then that was a specific house. And I think in a relationship, you're obviously, I think she means like this specific person. Is that possible, and should we try for that, I guess, right? Like, because there's one thing like to try to attract certain things, but then I don't know. So it's like that old Chinese proverb, right? Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just maybe she can clarify, but just from what I got from her question.
Well, she says
I've
yes,
done
exactly.
that.
So I think that's in response to you. She just typed yes,
Okay, yeah.
exactly.
So I've done both of those things actually. I've manifested a person specifically that I wanted in my life, and then I manifested an apartment in New York that was in the same exact apartment building as the one that I had on my vision board flash my laptop screen and my work while I was. So I kind of go into both of those. So first, as far as the relationship, it was somebody who was a friend of mine. I really felt like it should be, right? And so I just kept, it was a thought. And, 3 years into it, we kind of crossed that. Well, now, we were friends, and now so we were in a relationship, right? And so that lasted a long time. But what I wanted to say is really that you can attract those people into your life, but that doesn't mean that you're attracting them to stay, right? That the person that you're attracting is there for a reason, just like anything that comes and goes in your life. So you can attract them, and you may attract them specifically if that's for your best good, right? If that's, our friend Linda talks about, if that's what kind of the universe is shaping for you, and it goes towards, what you're kind of manifesting, because we're manifesting not only one thing, we're trying to manifest, a life in general. So that's a lot of different pieces. And sometimes, piece A, we want piece A, we want piece C, but those things aren't congruent. Like those two things might be fighting against each other, right? And so, with that being said, if you do, and now if you are successful at attracting this person into your life, don't get like wrapped up in that, just be in the moment, take it for what it is. But if they end up also leaving, that's also part of the universe. The universe is also telling you something or taking something away. And sometimes, in my case, it was taken away, and it kind of opened up some more possibilities for me in my career. So like, especially when you have a significant other, if you're a good significant other, you're constantly being considerate of the other person, right? And so with decisions, it's not just your, decision that you're making. You have to think of the other person. And so in doing that, it's like now I had kind of limited my prospects. So it's like, I'm not going to move here because this is not going to work. But now having rid of that, allowed me to grow into what the universe was kind of, or what I had been manifesting, kind of aside from, that relationship. It's something that was bigger for me, when we talk about best good or your most good. So it's like, yeah, you can attract a couple things, but I think ultimately the things that aren't for you are going to fall to the wayside, and the things that are going to, stay there. So
now she asks a follow-up question, and I think we're starting to drill down a little bit. She says, but can't our thoughts change the specific person? If it's our thoughts that have the power, why can't we make that specific person the person of your dreams? And that's a question we see a lot, but go ahead.
Right. So the thing is, because there's two people in this equation, right?
Right.
So you're manifesting them, but are they manifesting you? And are you for their best good? And their trajectory. Again, we have to. This is something that we kind of have to keep in mind as far as, consideration or our role in the universe. And I think that a lot of times we forget. We're kind of, and especially when we're trying to manifest, it's like the world is our oyster, right? But it's not just ours.
Mm-hmm.
There's other people working in motion with that stuff. So, like I said, they will come to your life for what it is, for the reason that they need to be there, right? And sometimes it is marriage. Walt, found his wife doing what he loved and dancing, and that has held true. And for others, like myself, I don't have any ill will or anything like that, for my exes and stuff. It's just I realized, what they were there, they were there for me through this time. And these are the things that I learned. And now, it's time for me to move on. And a lot of times those things, again, those relationships and those things are there to teach you lessons, to kind of build that toolbox so you can be successful in your next relationship. Maybe not the next one, maybe the next one after that. But that's why I think that that's a tricky situation, because you can be trying to manifest someone, but they're trying to manifest a career in Spain. You know what I mean? And
Right.
what's more powerful is what's really for their best good, or just because you kind of want them in your life. And I would say for the most of the time, their own life trajectory is gonna supersede, you really wanting them in kind of the universal hierarchy. That's my own personal view, but you guys can kind of chime in.
Do you want to go, Alex? I've got something, but I'll wait for you.
I was going to say, I don't think we should be manifesting specific people. I think we should be manifesting qualities and looking for certain qualities that we want in a person. And then when that person comes into our lives, because if you're manifesting a certain person for, let's say, because they look really good and that's one of the qualities, but that they don't have everything on your list, you can't change things about them to fit your list. So that's why I think that you should be manifesting the qualities as opposed to the actual person.
Yeah, two very good points there. I like that. I always like to bring in the concept of influence when discussing this topic, because people usually want to change somebody else. They want to be the influence, not the influence. They want to be the instrument of change. So I attract that this person in my life is going to behave a certain way because I can attract anything. And as you pointed out, Carlos, quite rightly, they are also free agents, so they can do their own attracting. And if their attracting is in alignment with your attracting, then great, it's all going to work out perfectly. If their alignment is not quite where yours is, if their vibration is different from yours, well, you're going to attract to a certain degree, but there's also going to be a push away because the vibrations aren't the same. So that's why I like to think of it in terms of influence. If you put out a thought pattern that you're wanting somebody else to become, or you want them to adopt perhaps a better, more positive viewpoint about stuff or whatever, by putting out positive vibrations, you make it possible for them to tap into that vibration. But it's also, like Carlos points out, they have to be receptive to it. So if you're on radio signal 98.7 and they're on 98.7, guess what? You're talking. It's going to work. You're going to have some sort of a vibrational match going on. But if they're on a different vibration, they just aren't there to receive you. You can put it out all you want, but if the vibration level is different, they're just not going to receive it. So it does require having both people be on the same vibrational level. If they are, you can influence somebody else. That's why we often experience situations where sometimes I think it gets described incorrectly, but we describe it as, I changed somebody else. Well, actually, you didn't really change them. What you did is put out what you wanted, and they changed themselves because they liked the match. They liked the way that vibration felt to them. And did you play a role in that? Yeah, you did play a role in that. You put out a vibration that gave them some ideas that perhaps they hadn't thought about before. But they ultimately made the change, not you. And that's the thing to keep in mind.
Right. One more thing, just to add to what you guys said. I think sometimes we think that we know what a circumstance is going to be.
Yes.
And that's why we try to manifest it.
Yeah.
So I want this specific person, because if I had this person, oh man, we're gonna have the best relationship. This is the person for me. But then there's a lot of things in that person's mind, or whatever they are going through. There's a lot of different things that when you actually get in a relationship, you're like, oh wow. Then you start figuring out. And there's a lot of figuring out if this is actually for you or not. So when you say, oh, let me attract somebody through manifestation, that's where it kind of, for me, it gets kind of iffy, because you really, like I said, you're trying to manifest a whole life, a whole great life. And so if you're trying to manifest this person, and the universe knows that this is the wrong person for, this is not what's conducive for your best good. It's not going to work. You're going to be fighting against it, and a lot of times I say, try to get out of your own way, and that's part of it. And it's instead of trying to force the issue. This is a great example. So to Alex's point, I used to try to manifest winning. So I would be on at a basketball game or something. I would try to manifest winning, and then it hit me that thought of, then if I'm manifesting winning, I'm also manifesting the other person losing, which I don't think that works. And so what I started to manifest instead was for me to perform at my best ability, right? And that might have the same outcome, right? If I'm performing at my best ability and I'm confident that would turn into a win, it's asking for the same thing, but you're asking for something that really you can take hold of, and you're not really changing somebody else. So I would kind of, to Alex's point exactly, I would just try to change those, just the way you phrase it. It's like, oh, I want to manifest, John Doe. Instead, what about, let me manifest the qualities that a person like John Doe would be really lucky to have in a woman or a man or whatever. So it's kind of it's changing it, but it's kind of taking more ownership as far as the manifesting is concerned, instead of trying to put it on to somebody else. Really taking ownership of who you are and what you want to be.
Jeffrey actually mirrored what you said. He said he likes manifesting having fun, and that's fairly close to the idea of performing at your best level, because the two are usually directly connected. You're at your best level. Usually you're having a good time at the same time. So yeah,
absolutely.
Something else to think about too, and this kind of it can kind of rub you the wrong way if you're somebody who's really hoping to manifest a particular person. But I'll throw it out anyway because I think it provides good perspective. And that is, what if, just assume for the sake of discussion, let's throw our current conversation and all the points we made out the window. Let's assume for the sake of discussion that I could actually manifest somebody against their will, right? They're thinking a completely different way from what I'm thinking, but I manifest them. And by God, they're in my life and they're kind of stuck there because that's what I manifested. Well, at that point, they become my puppet. Do I want to have a relationship with a puppet?
All right.
And it kind of ruins the whole idea of a relationship. Because you want to have somebody else who can push back.
Yeah, it's kind of... Well, I don't know. if, and I'm sure that some of our listeners have been through this. I've been through. It's like, being in a relationship that's not working, but you're kind of in it anyways. And that however long that lasts for. And it's like, that's basically what you'd be manifesting into your life, right? It's just like it's a shell of a relationship.
Exactly.
It's really like, that's not what you... I think we get caught up too is in that person. It's like we find somebody that we feel like checks all these boxes, or we have a really good connection with, and because we've never had it before, we're like, well, this is the last time it's ever going to happen. And so, like, I think that a lot of times people manifest or try to manifest relationships or manifest changing others out of kind of this fear, and again, when you're working out of fear, you're also not going to be effective at manifesting. So it's like, oh man, I need to have this person, especially after a breakup. Oh, I'm going to manifest them back into my life. And what's funny is that you might do it. I've done that. I've done that exactly. But then it fizzles out. It's not there for if it wasn't there, if it wasn't meant to be the first time, it's not going to be the second time. But you might be able to kind of put that together. But again, it's going to be very, it's going to come for a few months and then fizzle out. It's just, there's not strength there. And it's really, if you're looking for a relationship, I would hope that, you'd want something that's really healthy and that uplifts you and that supports you and those kind of things. And not just, kind of being with somebody to be with somebody, because, sometimes it's not the right time for you.
Right.
And she acknowledged and agreed in a comment, no, not against their will. So that really wasn't where she was trying to go, and that's a good thing. So, we applaud you for that one. That's good. But you've also just shown that because you can't do it against their will, then it can only work in situations where it's within their will. And now we've just answered your question very simply. Yep. So there we are. That was good. Thank you for that question, Nasha. That was really good. And
Yeah, that's a great question.
yeah, and relationships are a pretty broad topic. We usually talk about it in terms of primary personal relationships, but it really applies to any kind of relationship in our lives. It can be family, it can be friends, it can be business associates, it can be anybody. The same basic rules apply, even though we often usually talk about it in terms of, an intimate relationship, but it can be anything, any kind of relationship.
Yeah. No, and I think that's why we have to really focus on ourselves. When we get into the thing where we want to try to change others, that's very, very slippery slope.
It is.
Not only just it's just a bad mentality, right? And we talk about this being our most important asset and manifesting, and how our brain or how our mind is so important for what we try to put into our lives. And last thing you want is that negativity or that the blaming others kind of thing, right? And I see it all the time. It's like, oh, this person, or look at what they did, and really it takes, again, this is like just reconditioning your mindset, but it takes a lot, and it takes kind of humbling yourself to kind of, even in a situation where you were in the right, to kind of step back and say, well, what did I do, or how could I have done something differently, or it takes some practice, and there's always something. You never did anything 100% right, but just kind of getting into that practice allows you then to ask for things that would serve you, instead of to force others into situations, or, oh, I wish my boss would do this. It's like, oh no, well, give me the patience. I'm asking for the patience in order to deal with this boss, right? And the wherewithal and the knowledge to know that this is a temporary situation. So things like that. That's a way healthier manifesting thought than, oh, I want to manifest my boss being not being a micromanager. It's like, well, good luck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you probably just reinforced it, actually, just because you're thinking about him in terms of being a micromanager.
Yeah, and you also have to understand, it's like, people are the way they are, not because they're doing anything against you. They are who they are because of everything that they've been through. So in order for you to manifest them not being a micromanager, you would also have to manifest them forgetting everything that they've gone through in the last 10 years of work.
Great point.
That has created this distrust that now they have to micromanage you. So that's the kind of things that you have to think about. It's like, am I manifesting something that, first of all, am I asking for something that's realistic? And if you ask for something for somebody else, think through those things. It's like, can I really, is that something, or am I just wasting time? And am I going to get frustrated every time that this isn't manifesting for me? You know what I mean?
Right.
But again, you can always, or you can absolutely manifest patience. You can absolutely manifest strength. You can manifest all those things that you may not be feeling or having at that time.
Yep, and you really can manifest anything. The best approach is what you guys, I think, were talking about earlier. Don't make it so narrow that you're telling the universe it has to be that person right there, nobody else. Sorry, that's the only one for me. Because you basically said, well, universe, don't be creative. And that's what the universe is. The universe is creative. The universe in its essential nature is creative. So you're saying, oh, no, don't be creative. I'll do all the creation. She asked an interesting follow-up question. She says, let's see, where is it? Oh, there have been a lot of comments. Oh, yeah. Is it possible that the universe can connect to people? And then you take it from there.
Yeah. No, I think absolutely. Absolutely they can. I'll let Alyx go, since I've been talking for a minute.
No, I was just saying, that's what the universe does.
Exactly.
It connects all of us. So obviously, if someone's meant to be in your life for the rest of your life, then it'll happen.
Jeffrey's being a wise ass. He says, by the way, if you're bothered by micromanagers, are you one?
Those who can do teach.
That's funny.
Very good question, Jeffrey. I love it. Okay, let's see. This is really cool because not only are we talking about and answering the question, but the people are interacting in comments and answering the question and asking questions of each other. I love this kind of communication. This is the best.
I'm sorry, is that the universe connecting people?
Well, for all of it, I mean, yeah, it is. It is exactly. Yeah.
Well, we're not omnipotent either, you know.
No.
We know what we've been through, and that's what we were able to share. But of course, the more people that are able to share and comment, and you all have valid experiences and valid stories and things that and lessons that are worth sharing. So definitely, if you feel the need or you feel the kind of that passion come through you, and you want to help others, like throw it in the comments, right? Like that's for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's win, 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 win. That's everybody winning.
Yeah. No, but I think that people, to respond to that last question, the universe absolutely brings people into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we're talking about primary relationships, but I'll kind of jump to a friendship that I had. My friend Shalom from New York, he actually just left yesterday. He was here visiting. But I met him first day I moved to New York. I didn't know not a soul in one of the busiest cities in the whole world. And, New York can be a very lonely place. And so it's like the first day, though, I went and I was getting a drink and watching a basketball game and, alone again. Then he comes out of nowhere. He's just watching the game. We start chatting. Now he's one of my best friends, in life. And through him, I met other very genuine people. And so like my whole experience in living in New York City was completely based on that one interaction, that one, and it kind of, it blossomed from there. And so, it's just, it's a beautiful thing, right? And that was kind of placed there for me, and so that didn't take any kind of active, I guess, manifesting on my part.
Well, you probably did because you manifest everything in your life. But the interesting thing I think is very often we can't connect the dots. I mean, there are those rare occasions where we can actually connect the dots from where we've originally thought about something to the point where it showed up. But most of the time, it's like, okay, so what was I thinking about, and what was I doing when I was thinking about it? Because I don't remember. That's the way most of life goes.
Well, I think a lot of times too is that we manifest things, or like you said, we manifest things without knowing, unconsciously.
Yeah.
But what does happen, and I talk about this a lot, is that we get in our own way because of what we really think we want. Oh, I really want this. Well, the universe is trying to give you all these other opportunities, and you kind of you feel like you're running into a brick wall over and over again. Sometimes it's good to step back and ask, like, am I trying to force this, like, or am I going with the flow? You know what I mean? And sometimes it's because you really want it, right? And you're trying to manifest it. That's fine. But at the same time, like, we also have to kind of keep in mind divine timing and all those other things, and not get frustrated when kind of those things don't happen, or there's a roundabout way of getting to them. I should say.
Yeah.
Lucy made an interesting comment. She said, and I think she was actually replying to something that was going on in the internal conversation in the comments, but she says, we are all creating positive ripple effects among high vibe people. That's an interesting concept, because if you have a whole bunch of people who are in a high vibration, the ripple effects just go on endlessly. I mean, they go in lower vibrations too, but especially in the high vibration, it just goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool stuff. Well, thank you, Nasha. That was one question. That took like most of the show. That was great. That was fabulous. We still do have time left, so anyone who wants to bring up a question, we'd love to do it and talk about it and so forth. And rest assured, you will get more answers than you can shake a stick at, because not only we try to answer them, but a bunch of other people in the comment section will answer them. You're going to have more answers than you know what to do with, and it's going to be great. So don't hesitate. Please put your question in there. Let's address it. I'm seeing a lot more of the exchanges, so I'll go back to you guys. Well, let me throw it into your lap, Alex. Do you have anything that you've been wondering about lately? Something that you've been working on that maybe we can address? Something that's been haunting you, something that you just kind of toss around your mind, you're not quite coming to a resolution on?
I was recently watching something on Facebook about forgiveness.
Hmm.
And I think I want to touch up on that next week when we do that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. It's forgiveness and how it's within yourself, and how it's peace of mind for yourself to forgive
Yeah.
people, as opposed to, just forgetting what the person did or how they hurt you, or how the situation came about. But things of that nature. That's been on my mind lately.
That's one of the fascinating concepts. And it's when I have to admit, I only learned it in the last year or two, really. The idea that you don't forgive for the other person, you forgive for yourself.
Yes.
And it is a very powerful way to understand it. It's much more powerful, I think, than the other kind. The other kind, it's almost like you're trying to extract something. But when you think about forgiveness in terms of it helps you when you forgive, it takes on an entirely new meaning. Because, well, first of all, that means the person you're forgiving doesn't even have to be there, which is kind of cool.
Right.
It's not like you're dependent on that person being on the other side of the room, or the chat box or whatever it is. You can just forgive them, and they don't even know that you forgave them. And it's okay. It works great, because what you're really doing is ultimately you're letting go of resistance. That's what the real value of forgiveness is: letting go of resistance. And when we let go of resistance,
also the difference between forgiveness and closure. That's what's been heavily weighing on my mind.
Do you want to touch on that one a little bit? What do you think about?
I just don't know, with a specific person in my family, that I've definitely forgiven them, but I know I'll never get closure. But I'm cool with that, because I separate myself from the situation for my mental stability. It's just it's just not conducive to my mental state for him to be in my life. So yeah. So I'm trying to learn the difference and trying to balance it out. But yeah.
Do you also see similarities between closure and forgiveness?
I do see similarities. Yes, definitely.
Like what?
Yeah. Feeling like you need to have an end-all conversation with the person and let them know, okay, I forgive you, but blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm. And that's similar because what? I'm not quite sure I see the similarity.
I'm saying for closure, the closure is the conversation, and you feel like you need to have forgiveness.
Oh, so it's connected. It's connected. That's what you mean.
It's connected. Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's also similarity too. The similarity is they are both trying to address forms of resistance, which is ultimately what we're trying to find ways to release. We want to release resistance. So forgiveness is a way of releasing a resistance about somebody else offended you in some way. And closure is a way of trying to achieve a release of resistance so that the old stuff doesn't hang over you anymore. So to me, that's where the similarity is it's in trying to release stuff. It's trying to release resistance.
But I think you can have closure within yourself, and in having that, you forgive the other person.
I think it's the only place you can have closure. I don't think you can have closure outside of yourself. I don't think it's possible.
Have one without the other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's funny to bring that up too, like the whole forgiveness, and because my dad used to say something to me, which is like, it was for something trivial. It was like, oh man, this guy owes me, $20, and I've been asking for him, and it's like, man, and now I'm at this place where I'm pissed off about it or whatever. And what he said was, how much does he owe you? Oh, and I said, oh, $20. And he said, oh, well then you got off cheap.
I like it.
Right? It's like you don't have to get that money from that person. First of all, they've already shown you who they are, right? And it's like, now you saw that for $20, right? Or whatever the situation is. Oh, this person, a relationship. Well, this person cheated on me 3 months into the relationship. You got out cheap. You could have been 3 years into the relationship and found out this characteristic about this person. So it's almost like,
good point.
It's that forgiveness, right? It's like, that's why it's almost like for me, I don't hold any grudges, or I hardly ever, like very, very seldom. And it's a lot to do with, yeah, you're right. My own energy. It's like, hey, am I pissed at that person? Yeah. But it's like, now I don't have to talk to them anymore. It's like, I can forgive them. It's like, you know what? That's fine. But that doesn't mean that our relationship has to be the same, or that now everything's all good or anything like that. It's almost like, hey, I'm forgiving them, and now I kind of have that information about that person, and now I get to make a choice, whether I want that relationship or not. So it's if you look at it kind of in that very like almost business-like way, it's you can kind of see how those kind of connect, and that
Yeah, I agree.
Now, were you talking about closure? Because I wasn't quite sure which topic you were addressing at that point. Because it sounds like you're trying to keep the relationship together or not. You're trying to decide whether to stay with the relationship.
Oh no, I meant like you don't need the relationship anymore. Like it's the closure comes in that you don't need to know why, kind of thing. Oh, why didn't that person give me the $20? The closure comes in that I know that that's the type of person that would not give me the $20 when they owe it to me. So in that, like, I feel good about
okay, all right,
decision to end this relationship.
Got it. Okay.
Or to limit now.
So you weren't trying to keep the relationship in any way. You were just trying to find where the feel good point is.
Yeah, because I think the closure. I think that's closure really is we want to know why somebody did something to us.
Right, right.
What's the reason? And really, if you get past that, like you don't need to know the reason. Just know that what did it show you about this person? And if that's almost a better closure for me. It's like, oh, now I know this very, this thing about this person, and that doesn't always happen, right? Sometimes, especially when it's something smaller and things can get worked out and between friends. But I'm talking about like, and there's people that they'll wrong you and then they'll wrong you again, and it's like, there's sometimes at some point it's like, hey, I can't get mad at that person anymore.
Because you knew what type of person they were. Yeah.
Right? How many times am I going to get upset for somebody being late? You know what I mean? Like now I should be upset at myself because, I chose to, first of all, think that they were going to change or I should be upset at myself for, not, continuing this on when I know it only frustrates me. So it's like at that point, you know who you're dealing with, and it's up to you to make the decision. That gives you a lot of power too.
Yeah.
Where in a time where you feel like you may not have that much.
Mm-hmm.
Nasha followed up with some interesting comments. She says, "Trust me, it took me years to learn because I would always say that I never got closure, and then I had a conversation with a shrink, and she said, 'What is closure to you?' And I thought along those lines and worked with my inner self, and I found the results in forgiveness." She says, "I was trapped for 6 years," and I guess I conclude from that. Instead of trying to find closure, she found forgiveness because she perceived that forgiveness was within. So my answer is, cool. Whatever it takes for you to go within, that's the road to get there. I mean, if the word closure doesn't help you get there, then go with forgiveness. It got you there. That's what you needed in the first place. So, yeah, good for you. Oh, she says, once bitten, twice shy. Yeah, well, if we can only do it once, that's a good thing. I mean, I don't know about you. I repeated numerous times.
Yeah.
Some of us learn a little slower than others do.
and other relationships, they garner a different benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that's just true. There's levels, right? Like if I just met someone and they wronged me, it's like, sorry, don't know you anymore, right? But,
Right.
a parent, like let's say a parent or a family member, that's completely different, and that's why it does get tough to. But like I said, that's when you say, hey, this is how this person is, and now maybe not stop the relationship, but it's like now I'm going to see them on my terms, right? It's like, oh,
right.
maybe okay during Christmas or that would be cool, but I'm not going to get into this situation that I got into the last time, what have you,
And I actually went through something like this with someone who was a friend for almost 30 years, and we are no longer friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, 30 years is a long time to know somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who, I broke it off, and I had very good reason to break it off. I won't go into the details, but let's just say the person started treating me in ways that I wouldn't treat a dog. It was just not good. And I drew a line. I said, "That's it. We're done. Goodbye." And I'm there's no going back either, because it's not about forgiveness. It's about I just refuse to put up with that stuff anymore. He would have to show me a major shift in behavior pattern before I'd even consider talking to him again.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not up to you to go and reach out for that.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
You know? Right. So no, yeah, absolutely.
And I got a lot of closure out of that. Now, was there closure in terms of us talking together to have closure? No, there was none of that. For me, the closure was, I'm no longer being abused. Thank God. That was the closure.
Right.
I was so grateful for that. Yeah. So closure can take a lot of forms, that's for sure. And really what it comes down to is, what does it take to go inside and communicate with what I'm now calling my inner Walt. I picked that up from Patty Framo yesterday. I like that. My inner Walt. So listening to my inner Walt and seeing what it takes for me and my inner Walt to iron out whatever it is. Because once I've got that ironed out, everything else works out just great. In my experience anyway. So
yeah.
Nasha says, I just need to brush up my skills. Yeah, you and me both. I'm still working on it, Nasha. I've been working on it for 61 years, and I'm still working on it. I don't think we ever stop, really. The moment that we've got everything worked out is the moment that we're done and we've moved out, to the next life, because we're done here. Yeah.
That's happened to me a few times where I'm like, oh, I've done manifesting. I'm good now. And then, life keeps turning, right? Like
it does.
You can't pause it at the top.
You can't stop stopping.
No.
I remember reading in a novel one time, the character was trying to, the author was trying to express the fact that the character was not particularly spiritual or religious, but he had this one little spiritual side to him. And it was expressed through a comment, which was, I don't know who's cranking, I just hope he doesn't stop. And I thought that kind of summarized it.
Right.
Which is good stuff. We only have a few minutes left. I want to make sure I get our promo messages in here. First of all, you're seeing what kinds of discussions we have. We have great discussions on a wide range of topics around the law of attraction. And it often seems like, how could there be so many different topics, until we remember that the law of attraction touches every aspect of our lives. So if it's about life, we're talking about it. So make sure you don't miss any of the podcast episodes. There are 11 of them we do every week, sometimes more, sometimes less, but usually around 11. And you get them all when you're a subscriber to the podcast. We have links in almost every place where you can find this particular recording. So wherever you're looking at or listening to the recording right now, in the description, there's almost certainly links. If you don't see links, go to the homepage of the website, loatoday.net. You'll find them there. And please be sure to share with other people, because other people shared with you. That's how you found the podcast. Somebody posted something, somebody commented something, somebody shared something, and you saw it and you found out about it, and you found out how great it is to have your daily dose of happy. So pass the favor along. Put it on social media that you're watching LOA Today or listening to LOA Today, and pass the message, because everybody will appreciate it who gets the message. And we're down to about 2 minutes left. I don't think I see any other questions, more and more comments. People are really passing some great comments back and forth. One of these days we'll have to just go through a thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you manifest, if you go bald, can you manifest regrowing your hair? That's something I've wondered.
Actually, believe it or not,
asking for a friend.
Believe it or not, I have a co-host who has done that. Louis D'Souza, who does the Monday morning podcast with me, was losing chunks of his hair until he started doing Jinshin-jitsu, which is a sort of he calls it more of a life spiritual art. I call it more of a healing art. He thinks that's too diminutive, too small to call it that. But literally, it's a way of getting the flow of energy in your body going again when it's being blocked in various ways. And one of the ways that he was being blocked was that he was losing his hair. Today, he has a full head of hair. You can't tell a difference. It's amazing.
Huh.
And I tell you, that Jinshin Jitsu is interesting stuff. He tells me that it's straightened out his nose. I mean, how do you use an energy tool to straighten out your nose? I have no idea. But clearly, if you can straighten out your nose, you can certainly restore hair. I mean,
yeah, no, we're gonna have to connect. I'd be interested, offline, or maybe listening in and catching some of that, because that
you
sounds
asking
good.
for a friend, Carlos?
Yeah, I'm asking for a friend, you know.
I understand completely. I don't have a full answer myself because I'm only part way to where I want to be. My hair used to be dark brown, and now that I'm in my 60s, it's white. I want to go back to dark brown, but I don't want to use dyes. I want to do it naturally. You
I
know,
like it white.
do you like it white? My wife likes it
I
white too.
do.
I,
Yeah.
I guess it gives me character or distinctiveness or something, but I miss my dark brown hair. I liked it when it was dark brown. Well, plus I figure if I can get back to dark brown hair just by manifesting it, that'll be a pretty cool claim. Like, I manifested dark brown hair, and everybody will say, "What's wrong with you? Your white hair was great." But it's all fun. Hey, this has been great, guys, and I'm sorry that we're out of time, but let's do another Q&A next week because we're having a good time with this.
Cool.
All right, and we hope that you'll come back and join us next time as well here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.